Welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology, a weekly podcast presented by Brighthawk and Hollis Taylor. Together, we lay out the weekly astrology in an accessible, inclusive, candid, and insightful way and what it means for you. Hollis is amazing. They're a seasoned astrologer and psychic medium. I'm a musician, artist, and storyteller. We love to make the cosmos relatable, which is why we begin by tuning in with a guided meditation, helping all of us ground and center and feel the planetary energies of the week more deeply. Then we dive into this week's astrological forecast, answer your questions, and then look at the horoscopes for all the signs for the week. Whether you're brand new to astrology or you've been following the stars for years, welcome to the conversation. Welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology. Let's get centered, take a breath, and explore what the universe has in store for us.
Hello, welcome. Oh my goodness, I was talking and I wasn't even on live yet. Well, I hope we're reaching out and everyone's able to contact us right now because just making sure just making sure that we're live in all the groups and such like that. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're tuning in, and I appreciate you tuning in today. I'm Hollis Taylor and I am one of your astrologers here at Rainbow Soul. And
Hi there, I'm Brighthawk. Hope you're all doing really well. Happy summer.
Yeah, the sun's in Leo. We're
The
at
sun
the
is
tip
in Leo.
of the
We're
sun.
in the height of it.
Yeah.
Although living at the altitude we live at, I've already noticed we're 1 month past solstice and it's an hour less sun already.
Yeah, like it's not dark. It's not light till 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
9 p.m.
We'd be twilight still at 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's dark by 8:30
right.
for sure.
Right.
But summer nights, hope you're enjoying them. Wherever you are. Maybe it's not summer where you are if you're in Australia or New Zealand.
Yeah, that's true.
Acknowledge
that's true.
Y'all too.
Yeah, right. Because we definitely have people that watch us over in other places.
Thank you for that.
So I want to invite you to take a deep breath and take a little meditation with us today. Just take this minute to take a deep breath, close your eyes. And allow the music to gently sway you. Did you adjust the sound? Very gently. And just allow yourself to feel the warmth of the sun and see beneath the trees, looking up under the trees, and rays of light shimmering through the leaves, down to you, lying in a hammock, and just a gentle sway, only enough to comfort you. And as you close your eyes, because the sun seems to get super bright, you feel the warmth of the sun, how it warms your skin and holds you in its brilliance. Just enough sun to warm your face and your body. And you can feel it energizing you, helping you to create the vitamins within yourself that supports what you do every day. Feeling how the sun holds you in your perfect expression of yourself, helping you to have beautiful skin and a beautiful presentation. Because in astrology, the sun is your presentation. It's who we meet first. Because this part of you shines bright. And in life, you will always be reaching for the light of your sun. As you reach for the light of the sun from deep within, the darkness within you reaches for that light. And right now, you can feel that light warming you from head to toe, in your skin, in your muscles, and inside your body, as well as feeling your aura and the energies around you light up and energize. Your vitality, your life. And as you come back to yourself, to this moment, you can feel your body, stretch your fingers and toes. And I invite you to stretch your muscles and open your eyes and come back to the here and now. Well done, Bright Hawk. Well done. I appreciate that. All right. I also want to give a shout out to Carrie and Samantha tuning in over in the Mediums group. We're glad you joined us. Welcome. It's good to have you with us today. And as we connect here, I hope you enjoyed that meditation. It's very important, actually, that we understand the sun, because you know what I was thinking about was, Bright Hawk, as we looked at our broadcast this week, was that how like most people only know their sun sign.
A lot of people, that is just all you're going to get out of them. And it's like, oh, you're so just...
There's so much more to astrology.
Piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so most of us are known to, to like look up your birthday, and that will tell you your sun sign, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's where the sun was when you were born, right? So that's kind of like, that's pretty much how it works. And, the sun makes its way around all the zodiac in the course of a year, approximately ish. Okay. And
it's incredibly powerful. All life. That's what makes planet Earth so special, is that we're at the perfect proximity for life on the planet relative to our sun.
Yeah,
The
and
crown jewel of the universe
Mhm.
in terms of life, being able to sustain incredible life.
Right.
So let's hope we don't screw it up. We only have one planet like this. And, space travel's great, but I really don't think there's ever a replacement for your home planet,
Yeah.
So let's hope we, just be good to the Mother Earth.
Hi, Bianca. Welcome.
Oh, welcome.
I'm glad you're here. It's good to have you.
Yeah.
So when we think about the sun, you want to think about it's really only the part of you that I meet in the first like 5 minutes. And once I get to know you, or once I become a friend or a lover, then I'm probably not going to see much of your sun until we go out. Okay. Or until we interact with other people that aren't as close. And then, the reason I say that you'll always be reaching for the light of that sun was because Christopher Renstrom talks about how we grow into our rising. But and I think Anne Ortley said it too, is that we'll always kind of be striving to be something about the sun sign. So there'll be some part of the sun sign that you love and value really deeply and intensely, and you will work really hard to be like that. So like for me, I'm a Virgo, and you would think I'm really organized. I'm not.
Well, you can be when you want to be.
I know.
Just like I can be, because I'm a Virgo rising.
Yes.
So
yes, but
there's a certain level of organization that
and
we
so
come
I
with.
will always strive to be more organized, and probably never actually get to the organized perfect part, and that's always part of it too. Virgos tend to be kind of a little bit perfectionist, so that's what I mean by that. So there could be some other part of you that really loves some part of your sun sign, and if you feel like, but I'm not fully that, it's probably because your rising sign is the opposite of that, or something like that, and that's your sun sign. So you'll always be kind of reaching for that. And anytime when we reach for things, they tend to kind of move away a little bit.
Sometimes that's the way it works. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, and I wanted to talk about that because this week we'll be dealing with the Mercury retrograde Cazimi. So then that's going to go into the sun, but of course it's in a Leo sun, because that's where the sun is. So Bianca said, I have overwhelmed with health issues recently, so astrology has went on the back burner, but I'm ready to dig back in and learn all I can. Well, I'm glad you're back, Bianca. I'm sorry that you've been struggling with some health things. That really sucks. I totally get it. Just by the way, astrology used to be used for medicine back in the 1800s, just at the turn of the century. Before that, doctors had to learn astrology. It was part of getting your MD. And so I am a medical astrologer, and so sometimes it can help you with wellness and things like that. And I have all of the health things that I've been through, I used astrology to help me through them. Absolutely. Okay, just so you know.
Hollis really got good at it.
I do intuitive wellness.
Necessity.
Yeah, and I'm not going to take the place of your doctor. I'm more in support of your doctor. Okay. And so we start today, of course, with the sun in Leo, like I said. And we got this stuff going on. You know what I noticed? We have pretty much sort of the same theme that we talked about a little bit, but now the South Node and Mars are moving away. Now Mars and the Moon are traveling together this week. today, I notice.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see there, like at the bottom of that kite, and I was looking at that kite there, that formation, that kite there, and you can kind of see it with Mars and the moon and Virgo at the top of the chart, and they kind of have like a big blue triangle, and it kind of looks like a kite formation. And you can see that most of it is pointing up at Saturn and Neptune, which is at the very top in Aries, and Pluto in Aquarius, and Uranus in Gemini. And a lot of this has to do with our progress going forward. I feel like a lot of this has to do with, like, emotions, and even dealing with past stuff. And of course, we're still dealing with the Epstein files, which is hilarious to me. I'm glad that we're dealing with it. I'm glad we're talking about it, because
Yeah, the skeletons coming out of the closet with
Yeah.
the South Node and Mars, man, that has been the whole time the Epstein thing has been happening. Those two have been.
Yeah. So if you need to feel like the universe is on your side right now, just remember that that's happening.
Right.
That the South Node and Mars are pretty much exposing Donald Trump's closets, the skeletons in his closet. So I think that's great. I think that's awesome. It's creating conflict. And I thought it was interesting that Mars and the moon were at the bottom of that kite, pulling us up towards a review of our government, a review of our vision as a country, and even in our personal lives, and as we are as humans and humanity, reviewing who we are. I mean, all over the world, people are right now considering what's done and what's being done, especially in the name of conflict or war, or toxic men. And that's all represented by Mars, and about the past of what's happened and how we feel about that. And if that's any good for us, and what parts of it's good for us and what's not. And do we really need to beat up Gaza some more? And those kinds of things. And eye for an eye, right? Okay. So having those awarenesses right now, I think that is that kite right there. And that goes for your life too. So, like, if there's something in the past that you're dealing with that's been hard to deal with, just know that right now the system is trying to pull you up, and the feeling about that is trying to pull you up, which is the kite. The kite usually tends to get you up ahead, I think, so you can see a good perspective, which is interesting, because that's pretty much what will happen with the sun later this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't help but notice the inconjunct Chiron, and why there's little to no progress on all the negotiations for trying to end these conflicts.
Right, and inconjunct, it's not quite perfect there, but it might be once it goes
later in the week.
Yeah, I was about to say, especially since Chiron's going to turn around later in the week. Chiron is forward right now, so we've had I've been really reading and diving deep and watching Chiron, and Chiron, like, it's the wounded healer. Okay, so it talks about our wounds, but its movement direct is like wanting to push you forward into healing. And so that means that you're probably making some sort of progress or something. But when it stops and goes retrograde, it tends to make us review if that healing is really working. Is that really what we want to do? Is that how we heal this wound? Or taking a look at our wounds, whatever they might be, when it's going retrograde. So you can see here it's direct with Mars. So I think now that it's in conjunct Mars, I think that's going to, like, sort of kick off the beginning of Chiron about to go to retrograde. Like, just sort of like pushing us against the lack of healing or resistance to healing. Because I don't want to say that we don't heal when Chiron is retrograde, because that's not exactly true. But we might just be more likely to resist it during that time. Okay, and it might depend on if your Chiron is retrograde And there's a whole bunch of people in my generation that have Chiron in Aries. So we're having a Chiron return right now.
Yeah, Chiron has a very elliptical orbit, so it spends way more of its time in 4 signs than any other signs.
Right.
And Aries is one of them.
Right. So, so there's a lot of people with Chiron in Aries. So if you want to take a look and see where your Chiron is, that could have some, or look and see what's in late degree Aries, because Chiron's on it. Chiron's about your wounds and how to heal them, including physically inherited wounds that you got as a child or that you inherited because of your family. Okay. So that's pretty much what's going on right now. Mercury is deep in retrograde. So you're probably kind of climbing back up on your feet. It's sort of like, we were riding along, and Bright Hawk always describes it as someone like, hit a speed bump and everybody's like, right. And so now we're through that part, right? Okay. And now, Mercury is retrograde. So I wouldn't recommend that you make a whole lot of commitments or anything until it's over, if you can wait. If you need to make a commitment and you can't wait till August 11th, do it now, while it's in the middle before it goes direct again. Venus is in the late degrees of Gemini at the beginning of this week, and so I think as it leaves Gemini, I think it's going to, it was traveling with Uranus. So whatever it entered Uranus in, was it about relationships for you back on 4th of July? Was it about money? But at this point, maybe you've started to heal or make some movement towards those things. But with Mercury retrograde, you're probably still trying to figure out which ways to go.
Yeah, and with Mars square Venus, there's some prompting of what are you going to do?
Right. It's a pretty decent square there. I think it's what's almost perfected. Yeah, so they'll probably maybe perfect a little bit later this week. And then
Tuesday,
we got the moon in Libra.
Yeah, and we have a void, of course, moon starting at 1 a.m. on Tuesday. So if you're working night shift, there's a void Tuesday morning between 1 a.m. and 5:45 Mountain Time, of course, for us. So adjust for where you're feeling it. And this is that pause moment when the moon moves out of earthy Virgo and into Libra. And of course, in Libra, the moon is very concerned about fairness and everyone's emotional well-being, and are things well taken care of. And it's sextile Sun and Mercury, because that's going to happen for a good bit there. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. A lot of what we've seen for most of the month, that minor trine, still in play. And most of the week, we're going to see that Venus is going to have different challenges. Some trines, but some squares as well.
Yeah, I would say Tuesday is a quieter day.
For sure.
Even today's not too bad. And then as we move into Wednesday, what I want to say is this technically would begin the Cazimi for Mercury retrograde. And so what that means is that Mercury and the Sun are conjunct. Cazimi technically means at the center of the Sun. There's no really way to know where the center of the Sun is, because the Sun is such a hot fireball. So most astrologers pay attention within 1 degree of the Sun. And so you can see here that Mercury is going backwards on top of the Sun. And you can see that they're both in Leo. The Sun is just that circle with a dot in it. Mercury kind of is purple, and the number on it is 9 degrees, and it's red. That means it's retrograde, and it's traveling with the Sun. And I think that the fact that it's there, I'm pretty sure that Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to have insights into our Mercury retrograde.
Okay.
The sun is going to wake us up. The
Light
sun
it
is
up.
going to go, this is what you should do.
Mm.
This is working. This is going to work.
Mm.
So what is the problem you've been dealing with? So since Mercury went retrograde, like I think a couple weeks ago, what's come up? Has it been your health? Has it been your car or your money or your work or your friend or your partner? Okay, whatever's going on, you're probably going to have an insight or like a sudden realization or awareness of how to resolve the Mercury retrograde, or an insight or some sort of awareness of what will work for that. Okay, so you really need to pay attention Wednesday, Thursday to any insights, downloads, or awarenesses that you become aware of in that moment, especially because it's otherwise quiet. I did see that there's a void of course moon that evening, but it's just for an hour and a half, right? It's just, or is
Right.
that to the next day?
Into the next day, actually.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it's a really like Wednesday night. I'm gonna say that's the night. Meditate, get in a bath, go outside, be in nature.
So remember, the void of course moon means that the moon has the least amount of energy. It's that moment in between as it moves from one sign to another, and generally there's less aspects, and so it's low energy. It's no drama. It's really chill energy. It's really good time to take care of yourself, do things that are low key, not try to be, hey, let's have a party in the middle of a void moon. Some people feel like a void moon is like a wet blanket. Some people feel the void moon is like, why can't I focus my thoughts? I have 17 things I need to get done, and I don't think I'm going to get any of them done. That's a void moon. So don't try to get a lot done during a void moon. That's why we try to tell you, so that hopefully you can use it to your advantage and not find yourself flat-footed going, what is going on? Why do I have no mojo? That's why.
Right. And I mean, it would also be a good night to get a reading. I'm pretty sure it's a Wednesday night, so I'm pretty sure Sarah Redcrow is live. And so you can always catch her and see what she brings through, because if there's a message or something trying to get through to you, if you're meditating, relaxing, getting a reading, or connecting with someone, some people do, and those messages might just come through in a reading, or they might come through in something else. It might just depend on what you're up to and what kind of, what you're open to. So it would probably be a resolution to whatever you've been dealing with.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
We'll be curious. Let us know.
So that'll be like Wednesday night into Thursday. Like I said, technically the Cazimi technically happens on Thursday, when they're exactly 9 degrees, when Mercury is exactly 9 degrees, when it goes when it sort of passes by the sun, going backwards. It will do this again. Mm-hmm. So there will be another moment that Mercury will come back to the sun, when you'll probably have another moment to assess if whatever you're doing is accurately working. Because at that point, you've probably integrated whatever you needed to do to fix that problem. Okay. So it's probably been some sort of problem. And on Thursday, Venus moves into Cancer, which I feel like is healing. And I feel like with the Mercury retrograde and having like the awareness, and then having Venus move into Cancer, I feel like that's like healing energy to me, because Venus is about love and relationships and stuff like that. And Cancer can be very healing.
And the home of the moon. It
Right.
feels very female, very watery, very gentle. Hopefully. Yeah.
I think it will be, because it's in a trine to the moon on on Thursday. So I feel like even as it comes out of void.
And of course, the other thing we should always stress, Moon in Scorpio, super psychic. So if you don't get a reading on Wednesday, try Thursday.
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday are really great days because it's really going to light up. It's really going to light up the third eye, or if you're working on opening your third eye, Wednesday, Thursday would be really excellent days to do that, or to work on that, or do any kind of meditations or anything like that, because those are days that it's going to come easier, if that makes sense. Hey, Mama Cole.
Oh, right on. Hi.
Great, thanks. And
We're
Mama Cole
thankful you're
said,
here too.
Mama Cole said, Hollis is amazing at assisting you on your health journey. They've helped me after a heart attack and some major life run-ins and my chronic pain. Highly recommend their medical intuitive readings.
See?
Yeah, perfect for tea time. See what I mean?
See? Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Come to tea time.
Oh, yeah, totally. Tea time during that. That's perfect.
Yeah,
Isn't that
yeah. Come to tea time with Mama Cole. And then, you know, that's what I'm saying. Wednesday, Thursday, that's when you want to book your reading or whatever, or catch some of our live broadcasts or whatever you need to do. Hey, Juraz, I think that's your name. What did you say it was? Juarez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
Thanks so much. We appreciate that. And Stephanie, welcome. We're good. It's good to see you, Stephanie. I'm so glad you're here. And it's good to see you. Make sure you ask any questions that you might have about your astrology chart or anything else. And for the people that are wondering about the Cazimi, like if you're wondering where that is, take a look and see where Leo is in your chart. Where is Leo? What house is it in? And then you can always tell the house because there's probably like a number on the pieces of pie like it is here in this chart. You can kind of see in the middle, there's like numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 all the way around. And they're in the inner circle. You can see that there's just single numbers, not the degrees on the outskirts, but those numbers tell you what house it's in. And if you can find which one of the houses starts with Leo. So for this chart, it's the 8th house. The 8th house starts Leo. And so that's the kind of thing that you want to look at and see where is that Cazimi for you, because that Mercury retrograde Cazimi will probably come through in that area. And then I'll also do a little horoscope later for this time, for this Thursday. Yeah. I think I'm going to do it on the Cazimi and Venus in Cancer.
Cool. All right, so Friday we get to the first quarter moon, which is when the sun squares the moon, and the moon is also trine Jupiter. So really, that's a very positive, delightful energy. Moon in Scorpio, again, is going to be very psychic, very intuitive. We'll see things other people don't see. So you add the good fortune and, of course, the largesse of Jupiter. Hopefully, it's all good news, you know? And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and I think with the Cazimi still is active on this day, so it is still very possible for you to get downloads on Friday, Thursday into Friday, absolutely, because the Cazimi is still there. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, anything that you realize how to resolve your problem or have a new idea or whatever, listen to that idea and follow it. That is your download from the Mercury retrograde, especially on how to resolve any issue you've been dealing with recently. And with Venus in Cancer, if you need money for your home or something to do with your home or your house, or even healing yourself or your internal feelings, and in relation to relationships with anyone that has a strong Cancer placement, you may also be experiencing some sort of like relationship thing with Venus in Cancer, because Cancer is ruled by the moon. And so like Bright Hawk said, that, you know, that Venus is going to be sort of in a conversation with the moon in a way. And the moon is in Scorpio, which is incredibly psychic and incredibly intuitive.
Yeah. And then the other thing with Venus is that there's a conversation with dad. Saturn square Venus is like, who's the authority? Who, who's the Saturn can be tough love. Let's just be real honest. It can also get you going in your purpose and direction, and can hopefully be the empowering coach that says, I know you can give me more. What are you doing? Or this is how you can do more. So hopefully there's that vibe, because Saturn's walking with Neptune. And so that conversation, involves something around dreams, because that's Neptune. Neptune is all kinds of dreamy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious how that grand trine is just all month long.
So, and the
minor trine, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. And then Chiron also went retrograde on actually through this Cazimi Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday. And then Friday, it's actually in conjunct Mars in the South Node, which you could have some resistance. Like maybe you had some sort of download or idea or something like that from the Cazimi, and you're like, oh, this might really work. But then there could be either a toxic male that comes along and gaslights you, or you could gaslight yourself, or you could be like, oh no. And you might find yourself resisting healing. You might find yourself resisting the new idea, especially like, if you forget about this broadcast and you're like, oh shoot. Okay, so mark it on your calendar that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Cazimi, and put a couple reminders up there so that you don't dismiss or resist ideas or changes that you get an idea about yourself. And it could very much be about your vitality, your body, your health. Because the sun represents your vitality and your health and your life force, and Leo is and the sun in Leo is in its rulership. So this means that it's at its height. Okay, it's at its height for the entire year right now, and well, for all the other signs, Leo is its strongest sign other than Aries, and so the sun is very strong where it is right now. It's very at home. And so whatever it is, and it probably will be about you, because that's what Leo is. It could be about injustices in regards to you, but it will probably involve you, and who you are, your identity, or your even your pride or your integrity or anything like that. Be paying attention, including arrogance. Maybe you realize you've been arrogant. You need to work on it. Okay. It happens to everybody. Okay. And so this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Just be aware of any resistance to healing or to change. That's Chiron going retrograde. And it just could kind of, you could have someone like gaslighting it or something, especially with the in conjunct to the Mars in Virgo.
Well, I want to talk about
because that's that green line, you guys.
Those green lines. I want to talk about the in conjunct they turn into yods on Saturday.
Okay.
Or Sunday.
On Saturday.
There it is. So that's a really direct pointed picture there of a yod, that green triangle that's pointing at Chiron. So we keep talking about the wounded healer, and here it is. Chiron is in the Aries. The base of the yod, the sextile, is the moon in Scorpio again. We've talked about it. Very, it's going to reveal things. And the sextile of Mars and the South Node, which is, like we've been saying, they're finally starting to separate a little bit.
Looks like it's mostly Mars involved there.
Yeah.
And so Mars is very much about action and conflict. It can sometimes represent toxic men in your life. It can definitely represent toxic behavior or toxic attitudes or aggression. And in Virgo, it tends to be like trying to perfect something, or being judgmental, or being more so focused on the details that you miss It's sort of like, you're so focused on one tree, you miss the whole forest type of deal. So sometimes Virgo can kind of be like that, or anything else that has to do with wellness or health. And Mars is going to be about conflict. It's not, I wouldn't say that Mars is happy in Virgo. Okay. And I would say that Mars is is grounded in Virgo, is what I would say. So it may not be really obvious gaslighting. It may not be really obvious judgment or something, and you might have to sit with it a little bit longer to get to know it. And that's where the moon in Scorpio comes in, and the Kazemi that's been going on. So really listen to what kinds of messages come through others, come through any songs you might be listening to, especially with the Scorpio moon. Scorpio moon and lyrics are super important. So if you're listening to a song that is really healing you, or you hear a message from your loved one or something like that with the Scorpio moon, that's exactly what's going to be happening. It's going to be pointing at Chiron there. And that's really going to offer you some healing. Now, while a yod is difficult, it means difficult, yes, but it also means healing, okay? Because it will ultimately point you to whatever the fated energy is. So I feel like there's some fated energy on Saturday that will be pushing us towards healing. Maybe we'll hear a song on Friday or Saturday or something that will push us towards feeling healing, or some sort of progress forward, or some sort of intuitive insight or a message from a medium or a psychic or something.
I find it so fascinating as human beings, and we all have been there at one point or another. Sometimes we embrace our healing and we're totally like, I'll do it. And other times we know exactly what we need to do and do not do it. And we don't know why. We don't know why we're dragging our heels. We just fuck it. There's a vibe that just, why do we do that? And now we're really investigating a lot about where's the Chiron, what's Chiron's conversation, and how is that affecting us, and can we be honest with ourselves and ask the question, am I being resistant to my healing, or am I really following, what do I need to, what is for my highest good right now? Because I believe most of the time we know, but we are not always capable of following through. And I think that's part of what the astrology helps us all give ourselves a little bit of a break. We've all been there, done better things than other times.
And healing is never a straight line. I have learned that.
Take care of the dog.
Oh yeah, our dog is kind of freaking out a little bit. We have no idea why. He sometimes does that. He's a black lab, and sometimes he's just chasing squirrels. Okay, so anyway, so that yod, most of the faded energy will be gone by Saturday, by the end of Saturday. So by the time we get to Sunday, it will be chill again, just like today and tomorrow will be. Oh, you're welcome. Cheryl said this is so helpful to my practice. Thanks for all you guys do. Yeah, I think it's really helpful to know the astrology. The second house, Bianca asked, so what does the second house represent? It's usually about money, Bianca. It's usually about what you value, your money, how you make money, how you spend money, and what you spend it on. And sort of like your relationship. It's your relationship with money, pretty much. And anything and any other resources, anything like that. Samantha said, I was literally about to ask that. I'm not sure what you were about to ask, Samantha, but I'm glad it sounds like we answered it. So I hope we answered it. Anyway, so I'm glad that it helps you, Cheryl, because Mama Cole, because I find that knowing where the moon is and what's happening in the astrology can really help you understand what's happening in your life at any given moment. Okay. And Sunday is a pretty quiet day, as I mentioned. So I just wanted to finish up that part while Bright Hawk is in here. It's a pretty quiet day.
Yeah, and void, again, if you work a night shift, it's void from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. Most of us Hopefully, we'll be
Is
asleep.
that 1 a.m. on Sunday
Mountain
or
time.
Monday?
Sunday.
Sunday. Okay. And then so anyway, so I hope that Bianca says, "Oh my, that's scary. There are some changes coming at work. I hope it's all positive and nothing negative." Well, Bianca, maybe you could get a raise, right? Maybe you could have an increase.
This is one I highly recommend. My book that it's a little saying, I'm willing to be delightfully surprised. Be willing to be delightfully surprised. Sometimes we get what we expect. Not always, but hopefully if we put that vibe out there, it has a certain resonance that brings a certain vibe. I'm willing to be delightfully surprised by how sweet this life can be.
All right. And just so you know, we have finally released this meditation. It took us forever, mostly because it's really long. I'm putting it in the links in the comments. So
it's a guided meditation.
It's a guided meditation. Yeah, to help you
balance your chakras.
And Samantha said, how to find out what area that will affect for us. So Leo looks split between the 9th and 10th house for me. So I'm assuming that's starting the 9th. It actually might be starting the 10th, right? I don't know. So like you can see you can see how the houses kind of go. They start on the left and they go down and around. So that's the order of that. So what sign is in the beginning of the house? And that's how you know. Okay. So I just put the meditation in the comments there for you guys.
And we
Carrie said she's getting tired of being delightfully surprised. She probably has like Uranus. She probably has like Uranus somewhere. She keeps having surprises. Okay. Samantha, it's definitely probably starting the 10th house. If it's in your 9th house, then it's probably definitely kicking off the 10th house.
So we use Placidus and we use intercepted houses. Some people use whole houses, so you don't have to try to guess between the 9th and the 10th. I find that the intercepted houses is very accurate. So it sounds like the 10th house is probably what Leo is ruling, but that it's intercepted in the 9th house. So it flavors. It helps you understand how things get flavored, who the ruler is of that house, and that I'm going into the weeds. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Bianca, with Mercury retrograde in the 10th house, it probably would go with the sun. So what's been going on at work? You said they are going to announce some changes. I wouldn't assume it's bad. Mercury retrograde doesn't always mean bad. It just means a review. And so now you might have like when you'll probably find out about it on Wednesday or Thursday. Maybe Friday. Yeah. And then you'll probably have some sort of insight about it and how it's either helpful for you or not. Bianca said, what's the chakra above your head called? It's called my logo.
7th chakra.
It is the logo for Divine Androgyne.
Wear a crown.
So you can see that it's like
that's very funny.
You can see that it's actually a flower star of life. And it has the Om symbol in the middle of a gender variant or transgender sign, or male, female, and both sign. And then it has the moons around it to represent the moons going out from it, to represent the witchcraft that I study. So it's kind of like, it's a little bit of all of those things. Okay. That's my logo. I made it. It's not, I don't think it's the best. I need to get a new one actually. So, Bianca said, I was just reading about it and now I forgot what it's called. But I was definitely intrigued. Okay. I'm not sure what she's talking about exactly.
I think it's the flower of life she might be.
Oh, okay.
And you'll see that symbology as well in the guided meditations. Well, if you keep your eyes open.
So hopefully you guys have checked out the meditation or bookmark it for later. It's a great meditation. You know, aligning your chakras is a great way to open your third eye if you're trying to, you know, connect into the other side or for any other reason. Those meditations are really, really helpful for that. And I just want to encourage you to take a look at that guided meditation.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're gonna go into
the horoscopes for everybody. I'm sure y'all want to know. And have you told folks about the job aid if you need help figuring out your sun, moon, and rising? We have a little coupon code and a little job aid, a little how-to, real simple how-to
a workbook
on the astrology. Everyone in astrology, anyone who talks astrology, they're always going to want to know what we call the big three. Obviously, your sun, your rising, which we've talked a lot about, and your moon sign, because that will help anyone understand a lot if you understand a little bit about astrology. So the readings, when Hollis goes through the horoscope, this applies to your sun, moon, and rising.
All right, I just want to see.
So the Cassini's on Thursday, Friday?
Well, it technically begins on Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
So I don't think it matters if I start here or there. Anyway, so let me just give this a share to you guys. Sometimes when you go from Zoom to StreamYard, it can sometimes get a little strange. Okay. So, so first, I'm going to do the horoscope for Aries. This is for Aries, sun, moon, and rising. This is for Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, this later on this week when the Cazimi is going on. Where will your downloads be? They'll be about a romantic relationship, Aries. It's very much going to be about a romantic relationship or creative outlet or some kids. It could be about children in your life or how children are, or some sort of creative download that you're going to have on Wednesday, Thursday. And it's going to be really special because it's going to really help you open up and move towards, Aries, you've been really struggling with, Saturn retrograde and Neptune retrograde. Hasn't exactly been easy, I'm just going to say, with all these transits in your sign, and now Chiron's there going backwards. So you might find yourself a little bit frustrated or whatever with something going on right now, particularly related to those topics, because Mercury is retrograde in your fifth house. So that's like children, romantic relationships, or creative things, especially creative, like things that you create, like your baby, your book, okay. And it doesn't just have to be your child, your actual human child. It could be like, your baby, meaning like, your artwork or something like that. Okay. And so you're going to have a download or an insight on Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. So that's the horoscope for Aries. And now for a horoscope for Taurus. This is for the Cazimi on the Mercury retrograde Cazimi on Wednesday, Thursday, mostly Thursday. All right. So this is for Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. This is the horoscope for Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. And so this will very much have to do with your home. This will very much have to do with where you live, or your family of origin, or your childhood home, or your parents. So be aware that, the Cazimi is going to have it there. So, you're going to have some sort of awareness, some sort of awakening, some sort of sudden realization of a way to resolve a problem, or an insight to a problem, about those topics. So like I said, like your home, or it could very well have to do with your parents, or anything that has to do with your childhood or your childhood home. Okay. And that's for Taurus. That's the horoscope for Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. And now for Gemini, this is for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is the horoscope for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. The Cazimi will be happening in your third house. This is very much about communication. And for you, Gemini, that right now is kind of intense because, you have Uranus in Gemini right now. So it's going to be a real surprise. And it's going to help you get on your life path right now. Gemini, the universe is pushing you onto your path right now. Venus is going to leave your sign and move its way over into Cancer. So it might reward you on its way out. Usually, benefic planets usually reward whatever sign they just left. So Jupiter does that, Venus does that. And with the Sun and Mercury in the Cazimi in the third house, this might help you recognize how to get in touch with community, how to build community or insights into community, particularly your neighbors or your local community, particularly like when you think of this, you think of more like your neighbors or your siblings or your cousins. Okay. So this will have more to do with like the people around you. Okay. And that's really what the third house is about, particularly community. It can absolutely mean online community, any kind of community that you spend a lot of time with. Okay. Not all your time, but a lot more time than you spend, maybe with, distant relatives or people you don't like. Okay. So that's the horoscope for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And now this is for Cancer. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Cancer, you're really going to feel beautiful blessing, a sense of feeling at peace with yourself, particularly Thursday, because Venus will enter your sign, and Venus usually feels good, and Cancer's already there. So if you're waiting for money to come in, or you're trying to make money, or something like that, Cancer, definitely be paying attention, especially as this Cazimi happens on Thursday, because with its conversation to the moon in Scorpio, and you're going to have some downloads in regards to money and your values and what you value, Cancer. So this is going to be very important in regards to what you value, your money, how you make money, and how you spend money. Okay. So, and that's for Cancer. And with that Venus blessing and Jupiter's already there, I think it's going to be a really good thing for you, Cancer. I'm just going to say Mercury retrograde Cazimi is just going to be an insight, whether it's a good or bad situation. But I think for you, Cancer, I think it's going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be a blessing. I think it's going to mean something special is going to come to you. And now as we get to Leo, this is Leo. Now we're going to start the Leo horoscope. And this is for Leo. Leo, I want you to know that this is very much happening for you. Okay. This will be about you. It could absolutely be about your health. It could be about your vitality, or even how you feel about that, especially if you're a Leo moon. It could be more about how you feel about that. Okay. How you feel about your vitality, how you feel about your health. And you could have an insight about it, especially especially Thursday, and maybe even into Friday, Leo. You're a fixed sign, so it might, you might get it on Friday instead of Wednesday. And with Venus is in your 12th house, it may not even be a blessing that you're aware of. In fact, you could be totally unawares of your privilege. So stay open to it, and be aware that awareness, that insight is a gift from the universe. It is, the moon will move into Scorpio on Friday, and in a great conversation. So whatever that intuitive insight is, I would listen to it, and I would stay tuned with it, because this week, especially Thursday and Friday, you're going to get a major download, Leo, especially regarding yourself. All right. And now for the horoscope for Virgo. This is for Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Okay, Virgo, this has very much to do with, first of all, if you, Virgo, are doing any kind of psychic work or insights, any kind of like meditations or astrology or anything that requires intuition, then I'm going to say that Thursday, Friday are your days. You're going to have a you're going to be on point. So if you're doing readings or you're practicing readings or you want to get a reading, that's a good day to do that, because you're going to have good insights, especially from the unseen. You'll have great luck connecting to the other side if you're working on that. You'll be able to sort of become more aware of maybe another Claire that's trying to develop, or something else coming through in regards to to your psychic abilities or gifts. Everyone has them. And then on top of that, it could also have to do with anything else unseen. So that's like, think like hospitals, like nursing homes, mental health facilities, or anyone in the unseen area, including the other side. And then, of course, that also has to do with self-sabotage, and anything else that might be hidden from you that you don't usually see. That's the 12th house. So be aware that, like, if you have an insight about that, the sun is sort of come along into Mercury, and the both of them have sort of lit on fire whatever you were supposed to see. So take a good look at it, because you probably won't get any insight later about that. And so, because it is in a part of you that is unseen or unheard of, or that you're not as completely connected to. Okay, Virgo. So pay attention to that. That's your horoscope for this week, especially Thursday, Friday. And now we'll move to Libra. This is Libra. This is your horoscope for this Thursday, Friday, Libra. This has very much to do with the people you know, people that influence you, and the people that you work with, your friends. And this will very much have to do with having an awareness or sort of a download in regards to how you interact with your friends or interact with these people that might have some power or control over you. You might just want to pay attention to that, so that way you can be aware that be aware when the download comes through, so that you can know, Libra, sometimes you might overdo, or sometimes Libra just kind of doesn't notice that they're giving too much. So you might suddenly notice in this time, especially with Leo, because Leo is way better with boundaries than you are, Libra. So if you suddenly get a download about a boundary or something like that that you have to handle with someone, please listen. It's very good for you. I wouldn't be surprised if it was about a boundary or something like that. Okay. All right, Libra. Now, next is Scorpio. This is for the horoscope for Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. Scorpio, this has everything to do with your house of career. So this is telling me that you're going to have an insight about your job, about your career, about something going on in your life in regards to your work. So what is it exactly? And so if I was you, I would just pay attention to what's happening at work, particularly on like Thursday, Friday for you, Scorpio. It might take you till Friday to completely see it. Especially once the moon moves into your sign. The moon will probably sort of give you some sort of insight or intuition in regards to that. So I would expect to have that insight or that intuitive sense by Friday. And so that's, and it's probably going to have something to do with work, like maybe you have an insight about exactly where you're supposed to be going next with work, or what needs to be done in regards to your work. And as Venus enters your ninth house, be aware that you could get messages about what that might be from other women, or women, especially sensitive women. If someone else says something, I would definitely be listening to that, Scorpio. Because the sun cazimi, especially if you're a Scorpio rising, it's in a square to your rising sign. Okay. So, because Leo is in a square to it. And so you might just need a little bit more awareness. So that's why I said listen to anyone that brings it in through Cancer, because Jupiter and Venus are going to be in Cancer at that point, which would help bring in insights and money. And so that's probably tied into it as well. And I would definitely pay attention to any relationships with women in regards to work, and any like if somebody says something to you or anything like that, you have psychic friends like me, you might be paying attention to what they say. Okay. Okay. Sagittarius. This is for Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. This is the horoscope for Sagittarius for this week. Sagittarius, this Kazemi very much has to do with like your higher learning and your spiritual awakening. So I'm sure that you're going to have a little bit of spiritual awakening or awareness or an insight into something as far as your higher learning goes, or even grandparents or wisdom, those kinds of things, because that's the ninth house. And it could have to do with like meditation. I would absolutely encourage you to meditate, because the Kazemi would be easier to tap into in that moment, and you would be better able to hear the insights. Plus, Mercury is in your house of meditation and spirituality. So you might want to tap into spirituality on Thursday, Friday, and just, tap into that even on Saturday. That could really help you tap into whatever's going on, Sagittarius. And if you read a book, or you go to the library, or you're called to listen to a podcast or something else like that, or you have, you have a friend or something like that that says something that may be pretty wise. Doesn't matter where the wisdom comes from, but I would be listening to that wisdom, particularly later this week. Okay, Sagittarius? And if you go to college or anything like that, it could be in regards to that. Okay. Now, this is the horoscope for Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. So Capricorn, this has everything to do with your shadow. This has everything to do with things you don't talk about, particularly when we start to talk about death or sex. Not romantic sex. I mean sex, like kinky sex, or taxes, or anything else you don't want to talk about, including the occult, astrology. You could have a sudden insight. So I would say, if you're trying to study astrology or tarot or anything like that, make an appointment with me on Thursday or Friday, right? Okay. Or at least do your studying on those days, because you're likely to have a huge download Thursday or Friday, Wednesday possibly, but definitely Thursday or Friday. And by Friday, you'll have it, you'll know it, you'll have some idea of what that insight is, and it will have something to do with those topics, with a sort of taboo topic that you don't like to talk about. Okay, so you could have like a download about astrology, or a sudden awareness of how to read, the magician card in tarot, or something you've been struggling with for quite some time, or anything else that has to do with your personal shadow, especially with that 8th house there, that part of you that you don't like to look at or talk about, or maybe you'll have an insight or a connection to the other side, especially if you've lost someone recently. Okay. Now, this is the horoscope for Aquarius for this coming week. And Aquarius, this very much has to do with relationships for you. So I want you to be aware that the relationships in your life, you're probably going to have some sort of insight or download. They'll probably say it. You'll probably hear it directly from them, or they'll say something that makes you realize something. Okay, Aquarius. So like something will be said in relationships. This doesn't have to be romantic relationships. This could absolutely be a friend, or sibling or anyone else in your life in any kind of fashion, including business relationships. So Aquarius, this very much will have to do with that. And with Venus transiting, Venus is headed into your house of work and day-to-day life. So I wouldn't be surprised if it had something to do with work as well, especially as we get into Friday. And with that Scorpio moon, that could be up near the top of your chart, which is your MC, especially if you're an Aquarius rising. And so if that's true, it's probably going to have to do with work or your job or your career or your what you offer the world. Okay. So especially if you're Aquarius rising. But for Aquariuses in general, it will be about relationships. Someone in your life will probably say something that will give you some sort of insight or some sort of idea about things or how to heal things or how to solve a problem. Now, this is the horoscope for Pisces. This is for Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. Pisces, this has everything to do with your sixth house, which is about your day-to-day life or your work in the world, whatever you do every day. And someone will probably say something that makes you aware of what something you do on a regular basis. Maybe they make a comment that makes you feel a little insecure. Hang in there, Pisces. Listen to what they're saying, because what they're saying is probably still true. Okay. And I know, Pisces, that you know you're not perfect, and so just listen to whatever that is, even if it's coming from a not so great source. I would still consider what they're saying. There could be some truth to it. I'm not telling you to get gaslit or anything. I'm just telling you to be aware that what is being said could probably be true, because it is in Leo, and Leo usually speaks to truth. So someone calls you on something, or something comes up about day-to-day life, or something you need to do every day, or some sort of thing in some sort of like integration that you need to do that could help you find healing in your day-to-day life, such as meditation or yoga or something. Listen to it. Does it make sense? Is it something? Are they right? Just consider that for a minute. Okay, Pisces. So good luck with that, especially Thursday, Friday. All right. Okay.
Phew, that was amazing. Impressive, I should say.
Thanks.
I always learned something in there.
Okay.
Any questions?
So yeah, Bianca was still looking at the chakra above my head. Is it necessary to working on opening chakras in a certain order?
I'm going off topic, but the meditation you posted brought it to mind.
I think that it is helpful, but you can absolutely work on feeding or healing one chakra. But I do feel that at some point you should kind of align them so that they're connected together.
Yes. And then I just want to say, from my own experience energetically of chanting my chakras, there's a definite energy about chanting up, and there's a definite energy when you chant them down. And you're aware of that. You know how to pull the energy up your feet, from Gaia, from Mother Earth, and how to pull the energy down from Father Sky, right? So there's always this flow of energy, and we're the conduit, right? And the meditation is an opportunity. We start from the first chakra and we go up to the seventh chakra. But once you open, once you align, once you're very aware of that channel, you can play. You can play. You can feel like, God, I am so airy. I want to bring it down, or start from the ground and work your way up, and then be very aware of your own sort of personal tree. There's a lot that you can explore, and I really don't try to have rules around right or wrong. I definitely think there's times when you're energetically going to prefer one over the other. But generally speaking, we start with the first chakra and we go up to the seventh. So start by balancing, clearing, and aligning. That's really, you kind of have to get that first.
Might depend on your situation, Bianca. But
then you can play some.
In Reiki, people do it all the time. But they usually in Reiki, like if you want to be like Reiki, like when you get a Reiki alignment, for instance, usually what happens is we kind of open your awareness, we bring down the Reiki energy and feed each chakra depending on what we sense as necessary, and then we kind of align them all up, and then we protect, then we close, then we sort of put a protective energy around you in some way. And so that's, that's kind of how Reiki works. So they definitely, people can go in for Reiki treatments, and someone might just be working on their root chakra for a while, for instance. Okay.
Always begin with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with astrology, learn about yourself first and learn about any modality by how it works for you. And then be open to understanding how it might work differently for someone else.
Hi, Annie. Hi, Annie.
Welcome.
Bianca said, I get confused about which one to pay attention to for different events like the sun, the moon, or the rising. So the sun is like sort of the outside of your life. It's where you're going. It's where the sun is shining. It's like the flashlight.
Think with forward presenting.
And then your rising sign is what's going on underneath. And oftentimes the rising will be the most accurate in a horoscope. So the rising will be the most accurate. The moon will often add a little bit of emotion about that. So you'll have a little bit of emotion about this or that, or you'll feel it. You'll feel whatever I'm describing.
And I always just try to remind folks, especially if you feel like you've listened to your horoscope and you're like, God, that never applies for me. If you're in the last 5 degrees of your sign, or even 7, 8 degrees, the last part of a sign, 23 degrees to 30 degrees to 29 something. And I'm one of those. I have a 29-degree sun. So I don't listen to just Sag. I also listen to Capricorn. So if you're on that last 5 degrees especially, really pay attention to what they're talking about to the next sign. Because when we're doing the horoscopes, we start at 0 of whatever that sign is. So if you've ever felt like, why does this never feel like it fits? Pay attention to that.
Right. Yeah, definitely pay attention to that. And, okay. And very needed insight, Samantha said over in the mediums group. I'm so glad that you're tuning in. I'm glad you're getting that. You're getting these downloads, you guys. I'm glad that you're all prepared for later this week. I'm going to pull 3 cards to see what the cards have to say about this week for all of us.
Wow.
And
interesting already.
First card right away is the Hermit card. So this is the Love is Love Pride deck that you can find on Amazon. And the first card that I picked, which is in relation to our past, which is the Hermit. So have you spent some time alone recently? Maybe you took last week's advice, went out under the moon. Maybe you went and made a wish. Maybe you spent some time in the woods. Maybe you just took your lunch break and were alone for a little while or something. When was that moment that you spent alone, and what did you hear? What did you sense? And that's what this is about. This is about you, yourself, and personal reflection and insight. That's really what the Hermit is about. The Hermit really focuses on who you are and who you will become because of your thoughts, right? Okay. Now, this is about the here and now, which is interesting because this is the 5 of Pentacles, which is about having the resources to make the change that you need to make, or walk away from, maybe you're moving away from bad habits or a bad relationship or a bad situation or something that doesn't serve you anymore. You're like, why do I keep doing that to myself? Okay. So then this is 5 of Pentacles. This is very much about having the resources to move away from the crap that no longer serves us. So what are you moving away from? What is that problem? What is that thing you've been dealing with, especially in the last couple of weeks, like Mercury retrograde, right? Pay attention to that. And this is about your future. This is about what is to come. And by the end of the week, you will embark on a new journey. This is the Fool.
Wow.
This is a great card. This is about taking off on something new. This is about discovering something new. This is about trying a new path or stepping onto a new path. So this is about, and integrating that path for your higher being. That's why this person is standing there with their dog. They have a companion with them. They are ready to go. They have everything they need on their back. So remember this week, as that Kazemi comes in Thursday, Friday, be aware of that time that you've spent alone. What were you thinking about? What was that personal insight you had? Any kind of personal insights or self-reflection or anything like that. Pay attention to that, especially as that Kazemi comes in, because it's trying to help you resolve that problem, let go of that thing that you no longer need. You have everything you need to walk away from that. It's just a matter of letting it go. It's just a matter of you making the right move. And then as you step forward, Mama Cole, you can find the Fool card online if you search the Pride deck or something. You can also take a screenshot right now. And so this is the Fool card. And the Fool card is very much about, like where you're going and where you're headed next and what you will be doing. And this is about the next step. So you're starting a new journey this week. You're getting some insights about that new journey, and you know where you're going. You know you have a good idea or a good insight as to what's going to happen. So listen up to yourself today.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. That's incredible. That's amazing.
Thanks.
I'm always amazed how the tarot mirrors what's going on in the sky and adds that extra piece of insight.
And I'm just going to say, in the next 24 hours, I've got it almost set up. Bright Hawk and I are sort of collaborating on her crystal grids.
Oh, yeah.
And so, Bright Hawk, why don't you grab like that big crystal grid right behind you right there? And so what she's doing is she makes these crystal grids, and you can take a look at these nice close up. They're beautifully painted. This has an Om symbol on it, right? Okay,
and good for a Cancer moon.
This would be really great. These are already painted. We're gonna have two options. One where you can get a crystal grid that has already been painted. And what you get is an entire stone set that's based on your astrology chart. And there will be several different versions. One's that comes with an astrology reading. One is for if you've already had an astrology reading with me. And you can either get a custom painting, or you can go with something that Bright Hawk already has on hand. And so these are some of the examples. So like this one here would be great for a Cancer moon, because you can see we got the moon as our focus with a tree, right? Okay. This is a beautiful, probably also be good for Pisces.
Oh, and then the ultimate Pisces,
right?
Or for whoever needs to slow down.
Or is there something you need to do? You need to slow down. Yeah.
And then all the elements, water, air, earth,
and maybe
fire.
You need to take in the beauty of the earth, Maybe you need to be appreciative or you want to do a gratitude practice, right? And so that's what these are. And you're just going to set them up and paint them. I mean, they're already painted for you. So you're just going to set them up and put the crystals on them and focus your energy on them. And they'll help you with your healing journey. So these are really special, like sort of altar devices or altar pieces that you can have on your altar that are very special, very beautiful. The flower of life there for healing, right? Okay. And so that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. And so look out for that in the next 24 hours. I'm just about ready to get that started. And it will be on Bright Hawk's site and my website as well. And so you'll be able to order right through our websites, and we'll mail you the package, which will include the crystal grid and the crystals and your astrology chart and like a little guide to kind of help you know what all the stones are. Because I pick out stones that are directly aligned to your astrology. And I will, if you have any special intentions, you want to let me know about that, because we'll also integrate that into it.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate your compliments. That's very sweet.
Yeah, everybody loves them. Yeah, I agree, Cheryl. They definitely make great gifts. Great way to show somebody that you really care about them. A psychic would love these. I use these when I'm doing readings, particularly at a fair.
That's of course, Hollis is the one who dreamt it all up. I just create art, and Hollis is like, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need one of those. I need a little altar on my reading table at the fair.
And Chick,
kind of how it
you
started.
know what, Chick? It's absolutely, Bright Hawk is very intuitive. She's very intuitive.
Oh,
she's very much an intuitive artist. So, and she's been doing it for years too, but she's also a musician and an art and she's done art, but I'd say recently she's really been focusing on her visual art.
Yeah, I mean, when COVID took us off the road and I went from being a touring musician touring 300 days a year, let's put it that way. I did something like 15 events a year and, a lot of music and 3 shows a day sometimes, to COVID, like nothing, right? So I really love painting. It really puts me in a good place. And I like to stress whenever we know good mental health habits. If you're a person who struggles with anxiety, find a creative habit and create and create and create. Because I can promise you, honest to goodness, it was part of how I got through some of the craziness in our political world. Was like, turn off the television, stop listening to a podcast, get into some music and paint. And the world disappears.
Right.
And I create a whole world. I go into the world that I'm painting and I love it. And I am what you call an autodidactic painter. I've learned from just on my own, and thank you, YouTube. And I am I love that Hollis and I, the way we work, I'll have an idea, they'll have an idea. We just keep playing until all of a sudden we have a whole new thing. And here we are again, creating a whole new thing that no one, as far as we know, is doing.
Right, of course.
No one creates crystal grids on wood like I do. The crystal grids that we found are usually printouts of some kind.
Yeah. And
so
they're
not that relationship with the natural world.
Yeah.
And we live in the woods, we live in the forest, in the mountains. And so the wood cookies that I create, I'm talking to the wood and loving on the wood. If you've ever worked with wood, you know how fun it is to just, you can just love on it for so long. Oh yeah, I gotta paint. So I recently worked on a lot of it's summertime, and when you live in the mountains and there's trees that have fallen, it's dangerous to leave stuff just endlessly, because as you know, we all are very mindful of fire consciousness. So getting to work with the forest, work with the trees, bless up the land, and then create beautiful sacred art, it's my deepest pleasure to share it with y'all. So let us know what we can create for you. And I'm so glad to have these interactive conversations and our love of astrology. And
so I just think that having the crystal grid with a bunch of crystals that are based on your astrology chart, having an astrology reading with me that's recorded, and having the printout and the whole 9 yards, along with the great little guide that comes with this, will really help you focus in your energy and help you harvest your most authentic self. So Cheryl was saying, Mama Cole was saying, as a crystal master, I can feel the energy of these pieces. Yeah. And Bianca was saying, I'm so tired of the news, but I work at a nursing home. I know, Bianca, it's really hard, isn't it? And our residents watch this stuff all the time. I know. And sometimes they're not even watching it, especially if they have dementia. I used to work, Bianca, you know what I used to do? I used to just be like, change the channel, and I would just turn on nature shows,
video with salvaggio frequencies, put healing music with nature. Salvaggio frequencies have been proven to help literally calm the nervous system, especially in those environments. We all know the difference in a frequency of what happens when you watch the news, what happens when you watch butterflies flying through a forest with really chill music. I'm going to take the butterflies of the forest. So if there's any chance that you can just quietly change it and don't make a big deal of it, I bet people will be grateful. People think they want the news, but most of the time, not really.
Not really.
And you can figure out what's going on within about 1 or 2 minutes of scroll on your headlines and then be like, I know enough. I do believe in being informed, don't get me wrong, but I also believe in our mental health is precious and our time is precious, and we cannot be subjected constantly to the fear that is being pumped out at a volume that is deafening.
Exactly.
I'm too sensitive for it, and I'm sure you are too. So
hopefully we'll have some insights
about care of ourselves.
Hopefully we'll have some insights about that insanity with the Epstein files this week. So Beth Wetstein in the group and Samantha said that your crystal grids are beautiful, Bright Hawk.
Thank you.
And yeah, I agree. Cheryl said that she also listens to those frequencies all the time. Yep.
Yeah. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah. And Brianna said, yes, movie time with my clients. They usually love music and karaoke. Yep.
That's great.
Exactly. That's what I do too, Brianna, because otherwise the news will drive you crazy. Yeah. I can't listen to that for 8 hours a day. Ugh. Yeah, no. I know all about it. Yeah. I worked in a nursing home for years and years and years. Ugh. So, okay. So, anyway, I hope you guys have a beautiful week. Hang in there for Thursday and Friday. I'm excited. Come back. Even if you can't find this post, like go find some other post by me and just let me know, or drop me a private message and let me know what happened. What happened for you during the Cazimi? How did the download come to you?
Right.
And I would love to know what your big three are. So, like say my big three are this and the Cazimi, and on Thursday I had the sudden awareness of this. I would love to know how it comes to fruition for you guys. Okay.
Well, we love you. We send you tons of love. Enjoy this beautiful Leo energy. You are a sunshine. You are a light. You are a bringer of light. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology. We hope you have a great week, and we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Thanks so much. Take care and have a great week.
Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies in your life and what works for you. We send you lots of love on your journey. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps reach more people who could use some cosmic guidance. Hey, and don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might need or want to hear it. And we love hearing from you, so drop us a comment and let us know what resonated most for you, or if you'd like to hear something new next week. Your questions and feedback make us better. Want to join us live? Subscribe! Catch us on Facebook and YouTube. And that's where you can ask real-time questions and be part of the Rainbow Soulstrology community while it happens. Until next week, trust your intuition. Follow your inner wisdom. And remember, the stars are always supporting your journey. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.